Good day, all of you, the viewers of Poland Daily Culture. My name is Maria Kądzielska, and this is a special edition of our show from the middle of war. There is a war happening right now at Ukraine, and it was started by Russians, and we see the desperate fights of the Ukrainian nation and Ukrainian government to fight for their independence. We all hope it will happen, and we also feel very desperate how to help them. With us is a specialist of a Eastern mentality, Olgierd Uziembło, a sinologist, but also a person who grew up in Moscow and speaks perfect Russian. Sir, thank you very much for calling us.
Thanks for having me.
And as I mentioned, you grew up in Moscow because your father was a Polish consulate there, a Polish diplomat. You went to school there as well, learning Russian language. And now you can tell us a little bit about this Russian mentality when it comes to a current situation, because we all, of course, know that they are very much pro-war. They don't oppose their government. They don't oppose big Russia. And they're thinking that all of this is just a war against a U.S. started by U.S. and they are on a rightful position to fight for the space, I would say.
You have used a word which is absolutely unbelievable in Russia. It's not a war. It's just a military operation.
A military operation,
police
of course.
action. You cannot use the word war. So there is this kind of thinking in Russia that all those lands, including Poland, were actually Great Russia. And what Putin does, and he does try to show it, TV and all the people from TV like Kiselyov, Solovyov, and Simonyan, they're all explaining the same thing, that we're just, another part of Russian Empire that should be brought back to the empire.
Exactly. So they are imperialist, thinking that it's a big
There's
Russia.
this beautiful saying in Russia: "Kurica nie ptica, Polsza nie za granica." The chicken is not a bird, and Poland is not a foreign land. So I remember a story of my brother when he went to school, and in his class, a teacher was saying that in the times of Marie Curie, which we know as Skłodowska, that part was definitely Russian. So she actually is a Russian scientist. And my brother went through hell fighting with the Russians, explaining to them that every single time that she never felt herself Russian, because she didn't. We know that because we have her memoirs, we have her actions. And the funny thing is, Russians just didn't care about it. They beat him up if he said something like that. Because for them, the argument of power is the only one that works.
The argument of power, exactly. And this is, I would say, is something which the Western societies and the Western opinion don't understand. I myself outraged with the fact that Lavrov can speak 2 hours in United Nations without being stopped and telling his lies and the Russian lies to the public opinion, and the Westerners are listening to it. Is there even a purpose of doing it? Why the West cannot understand this, that either Russia will lose the same way, so unconditional surrender, and as it happened to Germany, or there will be a problem and a conflict, a by conflict, another and another, until they are broken. That's what I would say.
Well, Russia believes that they're going to win this war and the next war, and they're going to invade us. And with us, they will not be as polite as Ukrainians, because they do think Ukrainians are part of their nation. We're not. We are the traitors. Either we break them or they will destroy us. It's unfortunate. And as to Lavrov, he just says what Russians believe, and they're going to make pictures of it, show it to their own TV audience, and they say, look, he's telling the truth. They're eating it. All the Western people finally can see the truth. There is no way around it. They're still believing. They're not changing their mind, no matter what we throw at them.
And we hear such opinions from the Western countries, such as German Chancellor, that it's only Putin's war, the society is not guilty, they don't bear any responsibility, and they are just viewers of the spectacle of power, which of course in many ways we in Poland we see it's untrue. especially that the latest poll in Russia, even though we know it's manipulated, but still so many of them are, the 80% of Russians are pro extending this conflict and this war to Poland by using the atomic forces.
Yes, and I think it will happen if Ukraine falls. I don't know what's is about Germans is quite terrible. I guess those are deep-rooted complexes of our German friends from the Second World War. They still want to believe that was Germans, not Germans' war, but Hitler's war, not Germans.
The same thing, the same way of looking at it, the same mentality that the society is not guilty, but the leader is only guilty. But after all, without the support of the leader, without the police, without the people who go to war and don't surrender, without all of everyone who's doing and engaging in this propaganda, he wouldn't be able to do it. So it's not only Putin's doing, but it's a lot of people in the government, but also of a ordinary people who are involved in it, who are painting this Z, who are supporting, who are saying even that they love Putin, that they're in love with him, and he's the leader of their hearts.
I can't say much about it. It's just amazing, and Russia did not change much. The same kind of cult was surrounding Stalin. The same kind of cult was surrounding Tsar Batyushka during the First World War. It's just imperial thinking. I think that one of the things I love in Poland is like when we had great protests of feminists that were protesting our government, that there was little, if not much, resistance from police forces. They were mostly just looking, but there was not things like I watch in Russia. I do prefer having my city protested every day by people that are free than what is happening in Russia, because those few that are protesting are immediately put away to gulags.
And this is worth mentioning. We put a point here and we wrap up this episode with an open question, because of course we don't know what will happen, but we want also all of you who understand English, who listen to this, to understand this Russian mentality and what is really going on, not to be fooled by the Russian media or by anything else, and stay open with your eyes open and see what really is happening in Ukraine, how the civilians are dying fighting for their independence, and how horrible it is, and how the Western world and especially Europe is looking and waiting for what. Thank you very much for watching Poland Daily Culture.